My dear readers, it's always a pleasure to meet you in this online platform or when we meet elsewhere in the seminars or webinars or more. It's always a pleasure to talk to you and to work with you on the journey of life. But today, more than the journey of life, I will share with you a couple of other thoughts that probably emancipated almost 15 years ago, and how it translates on a journey even today. As I speak to you today, I got one of the notes from one of the reader who had read a very old book of mine called the Nirvana, a bunch of poems, and this is the one that I'm referring to. Now, this was one book that I wrote almost 15 years ago. This was published by Ananya Prakashan, a very renowned publisher, and the critic comment of this was written by Professor Pavitra Sarkar, at that point of time the Chancellor of Rabindra Bharati University. As I think to speak to you, I thought that it may be a good idea to take up one or two poems which was written almost 15 years ago, and how does it make sense even in today's world. So as I speak, let me just scroll through to pick up maybe one or two of it. I pick up a very interesting one and a very small one which says professionalism. Readers will find it in page number 11. It says, to be professional means only to satisfy your boss, irrespective of whether you know your work or not. But if you cannot satisfy him, you are in a complete loss and entangled in a deep knot. Now, there's a lot of pun in this rhetoric, and people in the professional world who are there today, they understand that how relevant this whole perspective of to cajole your boss, to satisfy your boss, and this is absolutely a pseudo non-cultured environment that organizations have, which is highly incorrect, and this has so much of meaning. People who are part of the corporate culture, they know that how true it could be. But I always insist that stay in the right path of life. Whatever pressure, whatever toxicity that you get from around your environment, from your bosses, or whosoever it could be, do not succumb. As long as you are not succumbing, there none can do you anything. However, I understand that you are also made with blood and flesh. If you see that the pressure becomes over the board, then is the time you have all your rights to move on, because you cannot change that person who is so-called your boss. Your sanskar and their sanskars may be different. Now, if they are in a high state of displeasure in their life, the outcome of that is to create more pressure onto people. The outcome of that is to shout at people. The outcome of that is to show power to people. Keep in mind, how will you recognize whether someone is or could be a genuine leader? A genuine leader will never show you power. A genuine leader will never ever try to yell at you at a consistent level. At one or two levels, you may find that a leader may still raise his voice, but that will be very rare, and that will be for a specific reason, and immediately after that the tonality will come down. These are the indications that you need to figure out. It keeps on saying, smart are they who have mastered this act. Now, there is also a lot of pun in this, and this, mind you, was written almost 15 years ago when I was part of Denwright, who have undergone the course of satisfaction and can gauge their boss and immediately react towards the so-called needed perfection. Now, if you stoop to that level, then you become the slave of those people who have been doing it in their family, in their work, in everywhere. Now, then the question comes, then where do you go? Any organization that you go, you kind of face the similar kind of situation. But I also believe that there are good bosses, there are good leaders, there are good organizations. Yes, it is true, it is not easy to find them. That is where your calibration of mind is needed to an extent. I do not urge anyone to succumb the pressure more than someone can hold. In the earlier days in the institutes, we saw ragging, and ragging today is a highly punishable offense. I feel it is important today to bring such kind of scenarios of punishable offense if employees are humiliated, if sense of disrespect comes onto people, if without knowing the subject, people try to just govern. For more than 50 to 100 years, we had seen ragging in the engineering colleges. But today, if you go there, you will hardly find ragging. Ragging should also never be tolerated beyond a level where it becomes a physical discomfort. Same thing I feel it is important to bring in the organizations. We are working with a group where we are trying to propagate that it is important to have good leaders, and that is where good organizations are born. So this piece of professionalism that was written almost 15-16 years ago is so true even today. The rhetoric of this is stay true to yourself and do not get governed by the pseudo cultures of outside. And there is where you have to have a calm mind. You have to have a peaceful mind, because you cannot control the outside environment, but you have rights to control your inside environment. And if all my friends who are part of our organization can understand, including me, to have better control on the inside environment, I think all of us will be in more peace. And if all of us are in more peace, then I think we'll build a better environment, all of us put together. And the question is, what about them who shouts and yells and puts pressure for no reasons? I don't think we need to bother so much about them. They are just part of their own karma. I feel sad and sorry for them, but the day would definitely come, even in the last day at the bed, that they would realize what they have done, and definitely the journey ahead would be much more tormenting for them, because they have to undergo a lesson for that. So if they are not understanding, I think let us leave it go and let us move ahead with all the goodness, with all the stillness of mind that we can build in the ecosystem, so that we have better enjoyable life. I'll read probably one last poem from here out of the many. Page 17, permanent. Neither I nor you are permanent here, all fades away with the age of time, like the red ray of sun going bare, just like a glass of wine. Now this point is so true, that each of us come here, we hold this body, but this is a temporary place for us. Mind you, this is a very, very temporary place for us. Our actual place is not where we are today. So I'll repeat again that what it says is, none of us are permanent here. All fades away with the age of time, like the red ray of sun going bare, just like a glass of wine. When a body actually comes to the earth life or in any other place, it's for a purpose that the body comes. And once the body circumvents the objective of why it have come, it actually goes off. So nothing is actually permanent in this whole universe. Bygone are the ages of love and fantasy. Who has created the bridge? Where are those days of merrifulness and ecstasy? Oh, at last they form the ridge. Now this is one thing that I have been observing very, very intensely, and I'm sure all of you, if you really pay strong attention, you will see that where are those days of merrifulness and ecstasy? Oh, at last they form the ridge. Now in today's children, you will not find them to even smile much. What they used to do, what probably when we were young, when we were small, we used to be so playful, so enjoyful. In today's entire generation, right from small boys and girls to young people to aged people, I find so much amount of damn seriousness in their body. Now why are they so serious? Now that piece of ecstasy is actually completely going off. Is it true that love is not for all, or depends on your fate? The poor may reach for it and the rich may crawl. Then why take a bait? The golden days never comes, the bygone age smile, like the hosts Ekoshan with all the might and divine. Now, that people are forgetting to love. I think the biggest problem is coming from there, that we cannot build that ecosystem of to love others. Now, it is so important that you know how to actually love others. Because if you don't know how to love others, then you do not build an ecosystem around you that will bring that joy, that will bring that ecstasy. And if you cannot bring that ecstasy, then the ecosystem becomes very heavy. The only thing that stays along is how much I have loved everyone. As once Dalai Lama said, that the purpose of our life is to help others. At least if you cannot help others, do not hurt others. At least if you cannot help others, do not hurt others. Once we all start working on those kind of virtues of life, we will see that we all build a great ecosystem. Thank you so much.